Well, I guess I should say from ages 0 to age 10, I lived in a pretty negative and abusive household. My father and mother argued constantly. After their divorce, through the later part of my elementary school, it got to the point where the house was so quiet from a lack of their arguing that I couldn't even concentrate on my homework. I was so used to having that background negativity that I couldn't even function normally as a person without it. So I have that substrate just planting all this negativity in me, but I knew it was wrong. Thankfully, I had the exact same thing, or the exact opposite thing happen. I had the exact opposite thing happen from ages from ages 10 to 20 roughly, where I pretty much raised myself. My parents had divorced. I was left to my own devices at the house. I had to cook, I had to clean for myself. My sister, my sister always was out and about, being with her friends' family. So there I was in a quiet house. I went from having a very negative background noise where my life was basically fueled with all kinds of hate to thankfully having 10 years of absolute silence practically, where I could just think and process most of all of that out. I don't think that I'd be in the position I am today if I didn't have those years in order to really reanalyze everything that happened to me over the course of the early part of my childhood. So because I was left to my own devices, it allowed me the rein in order to create very independent views socially. I didn't have very many friends in middle school. In fact, I had hardly any friends in middle school and barely got any more in high school. I was very shy, very quiet, very reserved, and that left me a lot of time to people watch. So I started looking at my own life, my own negativity, and just by watching slight nuances, slight behaviors in people, I could see various troubles or similar troubles in them that I knew I had suffered. And it got to the point where I could read some people like books, like just by looking at them. It was ridiculous. So, here I am, ages, in the latter part of my high school years, and I start exploring all this in an artistic way, trying to create some sort of medium through, painting and drawing. I was sexually abused as a child, so trying to reprocess that became something that was important to me. Trying to find a beauty in what I had endured so that my endurance of that could be made worthwhile. So after I left high school, I did what I felt like my family wanted to do. I went to UT to try to get a business degree there. That was an absolute waste of time. After that, dropped out of college almost entirely. I picked up a history course here and there and, dropped them halfway through the semester. I had very little ambition in my life at the time. I actually picked up playing Halo professionally in a league until it moved to Arkansas. And that sort of actually pushed me to find other work. Started working at the mall. By happen chance, I came across a job working at the Picture People, which was cookie cutter family portraiture, white backdrop, the Sears type portrait of the snotty 2-year-old smiling, if you can get them to smile by tickling them. And one of the best things that happened to me was getting laid off from that job. And I know that sounds totally weird, but this whole exploration is, well, how can this be the best thing that ever happened to me? How can coming from a negative childhood be something beneficial? How can being sexually abused being something that's beneficial? How can being laid off from your job be something that's beneficial? It forced me to re-examine where I was going. I knew I wasn't done with photography. It had started something in me that I really needed to explore. I ended up getting, I enrolled here in the photography program. At the time, my father was a beach wedding shooter in Pensacola, Florida. So I don't know why, it seemed like the genetic, natural progression for me to go, well, that's what my dad does, so that's what I'll do. And it worked, it clicked. It worked very well for me. So I had this new medium of photography to really try to explore everything that was going on previously in my life. So everything had, childish overtones, I feel like, in my work. I enjoyed exploring bright colors, getting the child's view of objects, trying to get really low and simplistic with an object. I really found an affinity for still life because I felt like it was so simple. And it's not something that people really appreciate these days. And when I was a child, I didn't even appreciate it. I was trying to say, every time I see a still life painting in a museum or something like that, it's like, why are you even bothering with a bowl of fruit? Come on, let's make some art that really means something. But they may have been doing it just to study, but still life to me meant something. I was exploring something mentally. After I really started getting the hang of using a camera and continued through the photography program, I wanted to explore a commercial venue with still life, and I really got into commercial photography, trying to make imagery that was good at selling stuff. I always felt like something had to have a social objective rather than just a personal one. I mean, everybody likes to look at artwork that's cool, but nobody wants to hang that on their wall. Nobody wants to, unless it's like Vogue or something like that, nobody wants to, put some crazy outlandish artwork in a magazine and have that sell a product. So I started exploring the commercial avenue of still life photography. And